my friends, and welcome to a long overdue video. The last time I filmed was way back in One Book July, and in those heady days I was filming essentially a haul video where I went over some stationery stuffs, and I briefly went over my goals for One Book July and the progress I was making there. And I feel like I did make suitable progress in those areas, which were decluttering general planner junk like planners and pens and stickers, and I did do that. I sold all of my sticker kits. I sold and or donated a few planners, a good amount of planners, and I also donated a ton of pens, and I was super thrilled with that. I was also writing, however it was more nonfiction, or at least it turned into that. Toward the end of the month I realized that was the direction I was going, so I am calling together some research for a project that I'm working on in that area. So it's still ongoing. It didn't finish or cease like a NaNoWriMo sort of project. And as far as my professional life, or what I intend to do post-graduation, I have decided, I believe, to take a semester off between graduation and my credential program, and that is where we are now. So I am in my last semester of college, of my undergrad period, and right now I just need a planner system that works. So I didn't start school until the end of August, and for those first few weeks of August I was actually in this guy. So I said bye-bye to this beautiful Leuchtturm A5. It's all indexed on the spine and on the front cover with the dates that it pertains to. I removed all of the protruding post-it flags and that sort of thing because I just wanted the shallow Midori index stickers. They're numbered, and that's fantastic for referring back to certain months. So this is actually on a bookshelf currently, and one that's easily accessible because it's on my desk, and I can reference it if I need to. I certainly thought I'd be referencing it way more than I currently am. I think it's just because it's so... you develop such a connection with something when it gets so filled and completed with your life story for that brief period of time. So I really thought I would reference this more than I have been. But just in case it is sitting there at the beginning of 2019, who's to say if it'll still be sitting there? It might just be relegated to a different bookshelf. But after coming off the high of completing this bullet journal, I went straight into a traveler's notebook because I just so happened to have the second half of 2018 insert, and it was just languishing, all lonely and sad, and I did plan in it for a bit, but I came to realize that I am not a horizontal planner anymore, nor do I want to be super confined so that I can fit like a bunch of tasks in one long horizontal box. And that was the problem I was having here. I write generally pretty small, but I still felt cramped and confined with this format, which is sad because I didn't want this to go to waste. I really didn't, but it's just not working for me, and it was actually becoming more of a stressor than an aid in those first couple of weeks of school, so I abandoned it. However, I was doing some half bullet journaling because I realized throughout all my planner changes that my monthlies are what I do some pretty important planning in, as far as keeping track of work shifts, paydays, utilities, that sort of thing. And I also had a sleep tracker and a purchase tracker and just other junk. So I actually really liked this part of it. If I felt I had enough space to actually do my weeklies too, I would have probably kept going with this, but I don't know, I feel like I need a little bit more time to suss that out. Where I am now is that this paper is amazing. It's a traveler's notebook insert, and I believe it is also that card my husband made me last year for Halloween, because I'm a dork and I love Halloween. And he knows that I have a very strong emotional connection to Dia de los Muertos, and he wanted to embrace that, so I thank him for it, and it's so near and dear to my heart. But anyways, this is a traveler's notebook insert. It's using MD paper, and it is such fantastic, beautiful, lovely paper. If you feel Tomoe River paper is too thin, but you still want to use like fountain pens and that sort of thing, go for MD paper, because it is beautiful and it is opaque, and the darkest, most saturated ink I have is probably Noodler's American Aristocracy, and I have like a brownish version of that, and there's like no bleed through whatsoever. It's just beautiful, so that's wonderful, and I regret not being able to use this, utilize it just yet. But what's concerning me is that there are only 61 pages to this thing. And I want more than like 2 months in an insert. And I think 61 pages is about 2 months for me, if you include all the weeklies and that sort of thing. So I will probably revisit this at some point. Who knows, 2019 might beckon me over. It might call out to me in 2019. We don't know. I don't know. But for right now, it just wasn't working out in a time when I definitely needed a planner for help. So I revisited this little A6 Leuchtturm that I bought way back when, in the spring. Didn't actually open until the summer. I played around with like an A6 size spread in my bullet journal. See if I can find it. Okay. So this was the A6 size spread. And it's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah. And at the time, I was very against it. I was rebelling, which is why I drew that super rough Generso. But I was running out of room to write down all of the things. And again, this is kind of horizontal. So I was worried. But I revisited this bullet journal because I wanted to bullet journal. I was desperately trying to find the familiar and take comfort in that. And this is what led me back to a Leuchtturm. But I didn't necessarily have the money to buy a new A5, so I'm making do with what I have. But I'm glad, because so far I really like it. I've been in it for just a little under a month. I've decorated it with the same Pear T sticker. It's one of her super sturdy vinyl stickers, I believe, and it's the same Sun Bear. I don't know why I'm drawn to it, but I really am, and I think it matches this cover so well. Not as much contrast as between this and this cover color, but it's still beautiful. The only thing I'm not loving about this cover is that you can already see signs of wear on the back, and I try to brush it off as much as possible, and it's still just going to happen. I just don't think I'll go for a cover like I did for the A5, because part of the draw and the appeal of this notebook is that it is so small, so romantically palm size. I don't know, it's just beautiful in that way to me. But on the inside, perhaps keeping up with that sort of romantic bent, I have this lovely William Morris washi from MT, and I tried to make it like an old school sort of bookplate style. I also have my favorite picture in the whole wide world of my 3 most favorite people, my husband and our pets. I also make notes sometimes using some sticky notes that I keep in the back here. This might look familiar because it's the same sticky note sort of dashboard I made for a pocket planner, and it's kind of roughly the same size, to be honest. The appeal with this, however, is that you get a whole bunch of pages and it pretty much lies flat, and that's why I'm currently loving it. But that's just the title page, and I have my name and like contact information in case it gets lost. On this page, because it's awkward and it's like glued in, I just put some underutilized sticky notes that I find just super irreverently awesome and whimsical, and I don't use nearly as often as I should. And then I have a key that I wrote on some MD A6 size sticky notes. I just cut them up, and this is just my working key. I kind of keep to the bullet journal style mostly. Circles are like appointments that are kind of unavoidable, or that are kind of like a contract I've made with that party, and they're mostly school, so classes, if I have to meet with an advisor, that sort of thing. Triangles are for work, or rather anything that I get paid for is denoted with a triangle. And then squares are for personal appointments, whether that's a plan that I've made with myself to like write, and I have a specific time that I want to do that, or whether it's like lunch plans with my brother, or maybe date night with my husband or something like that. And then I have many asterisks throughout my planning system, just because they're kind of like a do-all. It can denote a notable thing, or it can call attention to something. I also use a caret to show an event that is moved, but primarily what I do is a bunch of lists. I just do a bunch of task lists. So I have dots, and I put 1 strike through it if it's in progress, 2 if it's completed, to make an X. You know, like you do. This is my index page. You will notice that there are very few index pages in here, actually. Well, I take that back. At the time when I was flipping through this initially, I thought, holy crap, 3 index pages. I'm a lucky gal. That's many index pages. But I'm only on page 31-ish, and I'm nearly, or just over halfway through this index page, and I am worried for the future, only because this thing has many pages in it. So if we're counting non-perforated pages, it has 169. Well, technically 170 because the back. The perforated pages go from 171 to 185. And I don't like to count the perforated pages because I feel like I need that freedom to just rip them out with abandon and write whatever the heck I need to write and pass it along, or whatever, maybe to fix a spread or something like that. So I have 170 pages that I need to account for because I do like the index. It's very calming to me to do this. So yeah, we'll see where that takes us, if 3 pages are adequate. If not, I do always have the back. And at the moment, it's just a sticky note, the other portion of that A6 MD sticky note, just with some pertinent junk to know, like that there are 28 dots down, 17 dots across, which equates to 27 squares down and 16 across, and then the dimensions for my most used sort of spread, which is a monthly, and that is 5x6. On the flip side, we have just a 2018 title page denoting that this is a partial quarter 3 and 4 sort of planner. That's where I intend to get. I intend to definitely get to the beginning of 2019 with this. And if it looks like I still have a little bit of notebook to go, I will make a new title page that says 2019. But until then, this is where I'm confident I will reach. And I also have just done a little quote, motivational quote, which I never do, but I feel like I should embrace this as like the little voice in my head that I need to repeat to myself before I go to Michael's. Do more with what you have, because I'm getting that creative itch, and that just translates to purchasing things for me when I get that creative itch. And I have so many fantastic underutilized art supplies hanging about, and I should really get to work with those, but I should use that yearn to create something and actually paint or doodle or do something, rather than just going off to Michael's and buying something new, as is my pattern generally. Then I have a 6-month at a glance spread. I do have stamps that read off the months and everything, but I just like my own handwriting. And this is just repeating one of my favorite color schemes and sticker schemes that I've done in the past. This beautiful washi, which is from Simply Gilded. I think these are band washi stickers that come in a roll. And I just have some generally accepted holidays, or holidays that I think might impede my everyday life, or birthdays or whatever. I also have some very useful pages that I kind of copied from my previous bullet journal. I really liked that I kept a book list with the ISBN numbers so that I could track everything. Well, not track everything, but rather keep track of how much I spent on each individual item, how much I potentially sold it for when that time comes, because that was the most convenient feature of listing all these ISBNs, is that I can quickly punch them into the system and see how much it will net to me once the quarter ends, or semester. I'm in semesters now. I have my schedule that I wrote out, just the days that the class commences, the times, not commences, the days that the classes are held, the times that they extend through, and the individual colors and the names of the classes. I also have a schedule that I printed from online, just showing me a more visual representation of that same information. And then I think I have some advisor information there too. Then here's my first monthly. Like I said, I really like monthly spreads. I use it to keep track of work, to do utilities, to remind myself of some holidays, also to track events that take place over a few days. So it could be a vacation if this were a good month, or it could be my cold if we're doing this month. On the next page, I have this 2-page spread, which is just the days of the month, and I use the Tombow play dot markers to show how many hours I slept. And it actually looks pretty good, except it's so irregular. And I think that's the key to everything I do. It's so irregular. Which is why I am keeping track of my health stuff, like my period, which is so irregular. As is my iron consumption, so it's probably correlated. And just keeping track of other things. Then on the next page, I just have some September notes, like things I should keep in my mind grapes for the month of September. I was giving myself undue stress due to things that were very conquerable, like things that I shouldn't have been worried about, but of course, I created them and made them into the largest problems in the world. One was meet with my advisor, and I actually did make an appointment. Wednesday, I made an appointment. The other thing was fixing my notebook, because my school notebook is usually a refuge, a place where I can study or make notes and feel comfortable in that space. But I was in between an arc system and a Levenger system, so I was using Levenger discs, Levenger dividers, and a Levenger cover, but all my paper was like arc paper, so Staples arc system, and I thought the two systems were interchangeable, or rather, I thought they played well with each other, but they do not. So it wasn't like folding seamlessly, it wasn't operating well, so I just broke down and actually bought the darn Levenger $20 punch or whatever, and repunched all of my arc pages, and now it's beautiful, and I want to live in that beautifully organized notebook that I have created for myself. I was also stressing out about whiteout refills. I have a Tombow two-way two-way. Let me see if I actually just even have it. Okay, so I have this. It's the Tombow mono two-way correction tape and eraser. So it's nifty. It's like a really portable thing with an eraser on one side and a retractable whiteout on the other. And I did this in part because I wanted to cut down on the amount of plastic waste I was creating every time I needed to buy new whiteout. Oh no, eyeshadow. I touched my eye and now it's dirty. Sorry about that, that's not coming off. So I was concerned about that, and I bought it from Jet Pens. Well, Jet Pens is kind of the only place you can get the refills online, in the US anyways, or Tokyo Pen Shop, so I was kind of debating over one or the other, who do I buy from? And I wound up buying like 4 of them from Tokyo Pen Shop, as well as a complete set of refills for these Sarasa Shine pen inks, as well as a few new Midori sticker sheets. And I was happy with that decision, and it took a giant burden off of my mind. At the time when I bought this, I purchased 1 refill and I had already blown through that, so I am secure and comforted by that now that I have suitable replacements. The next spread I have, which I thought I would do monthly, as part of like this monthly packet I make that I've been experimenting with anyways, is my checkbook registers. Basically, it's just keeping track of all of my debit purchases or purchases that are coming out of my bank account. And I really like actually seeing it. And it's in this very austere color scheme that reminds me of my very first checkbook, so I like it a whole lot, even though it's telling me not fun information. And this was the first spread I attempted in here, and it was kind of what I feared. Far too narrow, kind of impossibly narrow, and I didn't feel like I had enough space for homework, and I wasn't loving it. But I tried again, and the week after I made this spread, which is a week on 4 pages, and this I am comfortable with. It is like 7 dots across, which is exactly the same as some of my favorite spreads in my A5 bullet journal. But in order to accommodate that space, I had to just cut down half of a page in between. Hence the 4 pages. And then I have my homework on this side. And I like this one, especially with this washi from Fox and Cactus. And it's such a wonderful movie. I really love that movie. Like, when you're a kid, you like it for different reasons, and when you're an adult, you're like, oh wow, the Maitlands have such a fantastic relationship. I appreciate that. So it's so multidimensional, even as an adult. It's still one of my favorite movies. So I copied that sort of spread for this week, and this is the week we're in. It doesn't look so pretty because I can't mimic the colors very well with what I have, but I made it work, and I put down this bread. Because the last time I bought something from Tokyo Pen Shop, no, not Tokyo Pen Shop, Cute Things from Japan, one of my favorite stationery stores, I got these final sale bread sticky note things. They're like paper stickers, so there's a giant clear sticker backing that you peel off and you put it down, and it's just like a regular memo thing. So I tried to beautify that area with one. I'm getting kind of sick of this spread, even though it's only been 2 weeks. So I prefer to kind of look at my week all in one go. So next week I am planning on doing this spread. So essentially kind of cutting them in half. Still leaving the same width and everything for my homework. I might not use washi this week though, just because I'm playing around with it. So until I get more comfortable with it, I'll just do like simple pen and highlighter or something like that. But before that, I have my semester at a glance. So I keep the scraps of these week on 4 page spreads for fixing spreads or something like that, or in this case adding on, because this expanse was practically perfect except it was missing the last 2 weeks of my semester, so I just tacked that on and taped it in. And I just have my big picture items on here, so like projects and essays and research papers, that sort of thing, as well as the holidays. And we have like no holidays until November, and that is sad. But yeah, that's my semester at a glance, and it's so easy to reference and to kind of understand the full impact of the semester looking at it all in one go, rather than just having to cobble together your syllabi dates just by flipping from syllabi to syllabi, if that makes any sense. So this is my October spread. As I have said, the creative bug has hit me. I drew all of this, and it is adorable. But I was really inspired by this sticker sheet that my husband bought me at Target. He brought it to my attention, and he thought I should get it. And I was like, but they're puffy. I don't like puffy stickers. And he said, but they're very cute, and I'll get them. And I said, well, you have won me over. And I allowed him to buy them for me. But they are so darn cute. And they're not like normal puffy stickers. They're only slightly raised. So, yes, they are acceptable. I also have a Fox and Cactus sticker and Fox and Cactus washi because it's just gorgeous, and I love Halloween. And that brings us up to what I have planned so far. However, the great thing about bullet journals, especially if you have one with as many pages as this, is that you don't have to be precious about your pages. So while I know I'll probably devote a few more pages to just like my monthly rundown, like my sleep tracker, my health tracker, that sort of thing, I don't have to set aside pages specifically to plan. I can just dive in and do whatever the heck I want. So I have some project pages for a couple of classes I'm in. Also, I don't remember this happening in my A5, but some of the pages are like glued together, kind of, where it's not as shallow as I would like. The most egregious, I think, is this page. So this, I think, was a printer error, but it's repeated on the same side of that signature, which is the page that is between this one and this one. I just glued them together because it was probably glued this far in and was just a pain in the butt. So I might do that with this page as well because it's pretty far down there. And I tried like prying them apart, but it eats away at the paper and it's not fun. So I'll probably just glue that down. But anyways, yeah, I don't have to be precious with the pages. I could write a grocery list on this and not care that it will impede my planning system because I can just go around it and that's fine. So this is another reason why I have returned to the bullet journal. Again, I probably would have gone for A5 had I had the money to spend on a super expensive Leuchtturm, but I didn't, so I decided to, what was that again? Oh yes, do more with what I have. That's why we're here. I've also wrote some grammar junk, not caring about what it looks like. Just because I had a student come in to see me about their paper and they asked me a question that just gave me the biggest brain fart at the moment. And I couldn't get past it for the life of me and I felt bad, but I researched it and wound up helping and it was fine. But sometimes I just need to write reminders, that's all. So that is what I have so far, except this guy. This was completely inspired by Emma Studies, I believe. I'll link the Instagram below, but I follow a lot of studygrams, so just students, whether they're college or high school or whatever, who just have some really mean organizational skills and planners and just fantastic all around, and I derive a lot of inspiration from that as a fellow student. So she had, I think, a when did I last replace, or like when did I replace, and a bunch of her beauty items and stuff like that, so I kind of did the same thing. It was also a great use of some of my ultra cute, underutilized Korean and like Japanese stickers, because I really love these stickers and I need to use them more. And I just have maintenance, so like when I dyed my hair, cut my hair, pets, when I last groomed my dog, when I last bought her food. She is the tiniest dog. She only weighs like 5 pounds, so we buy her like a giant bag and it takes her like 4 or 5 months to get through it. But I just like keeping track because it's kind of interesting to see. I think I only bought food twice last year. I mean, we do supplement it with like wet food, but we like cut the wet food in half and we have to give it to her over the course of like a couple of days. That's a lot of information on my dog, but she's special. And then just the last time I had an oil change in that. I don't normally have this paper clip here, but maybe I should keep it because it does kind of hide my passwords, my login information, and that sort of thing that I need to kind of have at the ready. It's like login information for specific work systems. Because I have 2 jobs now. 2 jobs, I go to school. That's a lot of database information that exists for me out there in the wilds that I just need help keeping track of. This is technically the last page of the regular notebook. At least it's not perforated. And I just have a little bit of a pen test. More so, like, I'll have an idea for a spread and I'll want to see which pen actually would look the best in my mind, or something like that, or if what's in my mind looks like what I imagine it will on the page. That's what this was. This was for the semester at a glance spread, and then this was for October, just trying to pick a color that I liked. And surprise, surprise, I picked orange. And that's about it. On this back side, I'm just using it for scraps of washi that I use when I make spreads. Like I said, this is my sticky note dashboard, my second favorite picture of my pup, and that is with the pocket TN that I still have, because those have been the hardest to part with because they take up the least amount of space. And it's so easy for me to kind of justify their existence in my collection because I have such an emotional tie to them. At least I feel like I do. Because there's something so romantic and so like rugged and worldly about a traveler's notebook. Something that I desperately want to attain or belong to is in those books. It sounds stupid, but it's true, and that's why I'm having difficulties parting with that. I had no difficulties parting with like ring binders of various sizes or larger TNs. I did get rid of a couple of bigger ones, but the little ones are really hard to get rid of. So I still have them. We'll see. And we'll see what 2019 holds. Oh yeah, and this, I have cash in this bucket, never mind. I was going to say I have nothing but the index stickers, but yay, I have money that I forgot I had. Now hopefully I will forget and sit on that for a while. But see what 2019 brings. I fully intend to probably still be in this come 2019, but I am not going to be sad if I blow through all the paper in here come January. Because I know I will have used it in a way that made me happy. In a way that wasn't precious, in a way that allowed me to get my thoughts on paper, and that's what's supposed to happen, right? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for sticking with me with my very unscientific, sporadic filming schedule. I should have another video out here soon, and it's going to be my Hobonichi 2019 unboxing. Spoiler alert, I got like 2 things. I didn't get much. Even less than last year, if you could believe that. And I'll just show you, because I know you've been seeing a lot of 2019 videos, I'll just show you how I'm using my Hobonichi, because no matter what planner I go to, or which way the wind blows in the planner world, the one thing that I have been consistent in for the past 2 years is my Hobonichi journal. So we'll just go through that, and that'll be in a future video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope your beginning of the school semester, if you are in school, or the school quarter, or just the beginning of practically fall, has been really going well for you. And I just wish you all the best. Thank you again. Bye.